Ghost Time!
What is the legend of Krampus? Where in the world did it come from? And why do we have an anti-Santa who runs around sticking children in their Santa's sack instead of bringing them treats and goodies for Christmas? Well, let's hear all about the legend of Krampus and where it came from. If you're up late at night listening for the sounds of Santa's bells and you hear instead the clip-clopping of hooves, you might want to hide because Krampus might be coming for you, especially if you've been naughty this year. Krampus is a half goat, half man, devil-looking creature with horns and fur. He has hooved feet, pointy tongue, kind of like a snake. Like Santa, he carries a large sack, but unlike Santa, he uses his sack to carry off naughty children instead of bringing you little presents and goodies. So Santa goes around leaving presents for the good kids, and Krampus leaves coal, or he hits you with a stick if you're naughty. And if you're getting hit with a stick, you're actually getting off lucky because he could be throwing you in his sack and carrying you back to hell. The legend goes that extra naughty kids, like the really bad ones, like some of you know you were when you were a kid, they get thrown in the sack and carried off to hell, the underworld, never to be seen again. So this is how Krampus rolls. So basically, kind of like the boogeyman, parents can use the threat of Krampus to warn off their naughty children this time of the year. So rather than be saying, hey, you better be good, Santa Claus is coming to town, you could say, you better be good because Krampus will carry you off to hell. Not to be confused with Bellsnickel. Bellsnickel is also a Christmas sort of character that runs around. He looks a little bit more disheveled, raggedy, kind of like a hobo running around. He does deliver beatings to naughty kids. However, unlike Krampus, who's only doing the naughty stuff, he also will deliver cakes, candies, and nuts for good children. So he's kind of like a blend of Krampus and Santa. That's Bellsnickel. Totally different. Don't confuse him with Krampus. So where the heck did we get Krampus? Where did he come from? Well, this is an ancient pagan tradition. So 2,000 years ago in pre-Christian pagan societies living up in the Alps in Switzerland, kind of southern Germany, into Western Austria, you start to have this legend emerging about the demon son of the Norse god of the Underworld, or his name was Hel. He might come and take you off if you were naughty. He was really intended to symbolize the onset of the dark nights and the pressures of surviving the cold Alps during the long, dark, cold, hard winters in the Alps in pagan pre-Christian times. The name itself, Krampus, comes from the German word Krampen, which means claw. So he's basically the clawed one. Although when we think about him, we really think about his horns and his fur and his cloved feet. We don't think too much about his claw, but apparently he's got one of those too. What happened? How did this Norse god become the anti-Santa? How did they become blurred together? Well, like so many pagan traditions, once Christianity kind of came to town, there was a blending of an old and new, and then the two kind of mushed together. And it also happens that their feast days are pretty similar, or their days are similar. You've got Krampusnacht, which is the night of the Krampus, which is December 5th, and that was tradition from the pagans. Then you happen to have the Feast of St. Nicholas is December 6th. And so they just sort of naturally happen to fall together on a calendar. And by the 11th century, you've kind of got St. Nicholas and Krampus's partners in crime. St. Nicholas is giving presents to the good kids, and Krampus is punishing the naughty ones. And so they're like two sides of the same coin, especially if you live in the greater Alpine region where Krampus was prevalent. So during the 12th century, now you have people starting to try to take this Krampus away as Christianity becomes more dominant. The Catholic Church actually tried to stop Krampus celebrations because of his resemblance to the devil, basically saying that was pagan and evil and devilish, which it is. Again, in 1934, the Austrian Conservative Christian Social Party tried to banish Krampus celebrations. The problem is nobody wanted Krampus celebrations to go away, and so it remained quite strong. Now you're probably wondering, okay, well, if I want to celebrate Krampusnacht, what do I do? How do I celebrate this December 5th anti-St. Nicholas celebration? Well, what you need to do is dress up like Krampus and wander the streets of the Alpine towns, having what they call a Krampus run or a Krampuslauf. So you run around the town and essentially hit people with sticks. Now, the idea is that you're supposed to hit them if they've been naughty or bad or done something to you. However, I think it's sort of turned into just going around hitting people because it's kind of fun. But mostly people just like to run around, get drunk, and beat people with sticks. That's really the crux of it. So you can see why this tradition has lasted the test of time. And people just like to celebrate revelry and that kind of crazy hedonism, to be honest. I think it's just really fun. Also times when they would dispense lumps of coal. So here we have like, you know, the idea of getting coal in your stocking because you've been naughty. Well, Krampus might leave you coal instead of taking you off to hell, which I think is the preferred method here. Even today, across the world, even in America, they do hold Krampusnacht celebrations. It features contests, parades, traditional dances, maybe even some alpine horn blowing, people running around definitely dressed up like Krampus in your masks. Now, if the more elaborate your mask is, the more you might win a prize. Like, it's very revered to have the best Krampus mask. My favorite is the tradition of giving Krampus greeting cards, which is called Krampuskarten. Again, hopefully I'm saying this correct. These holiday cards are not meant to make you feel warm and fuzzy. What's really crazy is like you wouldn't be giving these Krampus cards to people to wish them a merry holiday. So I'm not really sure exactly what it signifies if you give them one. Does it mean you think they've been naughty? I'm not really sure. But basically, it's not really intended to make you feel warm and fuzzy. They are typically pictures of a devil-horned being stealing children and sticking them in their sack. So it's not really like the best thing to receive, although I'm sure it's hilarious to be giving it to someone you think deserves it. But yeah, you can give a Krampuskarten. There's also this really interesting thing that you can find if you Google around enough of ugly Krampus sweaters. So wear that to your next holiday party and see what kind of vibe you give off. So just remember, it doesn't have to all be about the jolly old Saint Nick. There is a flip side to that, and that is if you are not good, Krampus will come and take you away. Just be good, for goodness sake. I don't want you going to hell with Krampus. Okay, I want you to get presents. I want you to have a holly jolly Christmas. I do not want you to be beaten, get lumps of coal, or carried off to hell. Is that too much to ask?